Chapter 6. I came to school wearing earmuffs the next day. I looked stupid in them, but I found it helpful blocking out other people's thoughts. Here's the thing about mind reading. Most of the stuff you learn, you wish you hadn't. Like Miss Terbash, the old lady who lives next door to us. I learned she likes to have a date with my dad. I found out this morning that in the elevator, my dad, I found out he hasn't been to the dentist in about 2 years. He makes me go every 6 months. It isn't fair. I got to school half an hour early. That was so I could snoop around a little. It was scary having to track a killer by myself. But what else could I do? I couldn't go to the police. I mean, what would I tell them? That I read a mind of someone who was planning a murder? Somehow I didn't think they'd be so impressed with that. I took off my earmuffs. I went down to the basement and hung out around the janitor's office. Mr. Hagermeister was my number one suspect. That was mainly because I didn't want it to be Miss Coleman-Levin. She may be weird, but I like her. I couldn't hear the sound of heavy rain and thunder outside. A big storm was on its way. I'd heard that on the morning news. It made the basement seem even scarier. But I didn't let that stop me. I had to find out who the killer was before he killed. I pretended to be picked up litter in the hallway. But I was hoping to pick up an evil thought from Mr. Hagermeister. For several minutes, Mr. Hagermeister didn't have a single interesting thought. My nose itched. I heard, "I'll scratch it." Then, that feels good. Scratching is good, especially if you itch. Not as good if you don't. A second later, I heard, "Outlet. Got to put on a new outlet." The kid Zach shorted out the old one. Dumb. Mr. Hagermeister thought I was dumb. Did he? Well, I didn't think he was exactly a genius. The question, though, was whether he was a killer. I heard more thunder outside. What was Mr. Hagermeister doing in there? I wish I could see. There was no keyhole in the door, but there was a little space between the door and the floor. I lay down and tried to peer under the door. At first I didn't see anything at all. Then I saw a huge pair of feet. Then the feet started walking toward the door. Oh no, I had to get up fast. The door swung open. I scrambled to my feet, but I tripped and fell flat on my face. Mr. Hagermeister stood over me like a giant. Thunder rumbled close. "What the heck are you doing?" he said, in this really angry voice. "Oh, hi there, Mr. Hagermeister," I said. I got up and slapped the dust off my shirt and pants. I said, "What were you doing down there on the floor in front of my office?" he demanded. Push-ups, sir," I said. "What?" "I was doing push-up. I always do push-ups before class." I sort of woke myself up. Mr. Hagermeister fastened his scary eyes on me. Then he leaned way down and pushed his face up closer to mine. "I think you must have eaten a garlic donut for breakfast. P.U." I was scared he was going to take a hammer and clunk me over the head, but instead he did something else. He started laughing. I have never seen Mr. Hagermeister laugh before. It was not a pretty sight. Then I turned in on his thoughts. Push-ups? Give me a break. Does he really expect me to believe that? He turned and walked down the hallway, shaking his head. "These kids, they kill me." He laughed a weird laugh again. I watched Mr. Hagermeister go. I was very puzzled. His thoughts didn't exactly sound like the thoughts of the murderer. Mr. Hagermeister was a weird guy, all right, but I was starting to think that maybe I should cross him off my list of suspects. Only if I did that, then my number one suspect was Miss Coleman-Levin. Chapter 7. Outside my classroom, rain was falling itself against the windows. Lightning flashed, thunder crashed. Miss Coleman-Levin was taking attendance. And then from somewhere I heard a strange voice. Kill, kill today. Miss Coleman-Levi was finishing with attendance. Now she was standing up and walking over to my desk. She was looking right at me. I heard kill this one when the time is right. How I crave to taste the blood. Yikes, Zach said Miss Coleman-Levin. Could you eat lunch quickly today? Then I want you to come right up here to the classroom. There is a strange expression on her face. Oh, what for? I shuddered. I need to talk to you. Alone, you mean? I said only. It came out more like a squeak. Of course, alone, she said. I have a surprise for you. I swallowed hard. I heard a feeling. I know what the surprise was. Miss Coleman-Levi was a psycho killer, and I was her next victim. Some surprise. I had to get out of this. But how? Between math and geography class, I tried to phone Dad. I wanted him to come and take me home. When I called him, his answering machine came on, which was weird. My dad is always home. He's a writer, and that's where he works. But today, of all days, he was out. I left him a message. Come and get me at school. I said, right away. When I went to Miss Crump's office, I told her I felt sick. If I stayed in her office, I'd be safe. But she took my temperature and said there was nothing wrong with me. She sent me back up to English class. At lunch, I sat at Spencer Sharp's table, and I heard him thinking he'd invite me to his birthday party next month at Actionland Amusement Park. That would have been nice. Too bad I might not be alive to enjoy it. Miss Coleman-Levi had told me to eat quickly. I was too scared to eat at all. The storm was really bad now. It was only 12:30, but it seemed as dark as night, and my dad hadn't showed up yet. I was afraid to go upstairs to my classroom, but I had a plan. Miss Coleman-Levin pulled anything funny, I would scream and run for my life. Okay, so this wasn't a great plan. It was just the best one I could think of under pressure. But when I got up to the room, Miss Coleman-Levin wasn't even there. It was creepy being all alone in the classroom. In the corner, a skeleton seemed to be grinning at me. Maybe once he'd been a student of Miss Coleman-Levi's too. I sat down at my desk to wait. There was a sudden clap of thunder. It was so loud, I actually jumped a couple of inches into the air. Right after that, all the lights went out. Lightning must have knocked out the power. I was pretty freaked out, alone in the dark room. Carefully, I got up from my desk. From the flash of lightning, Carefully, I got up from my desk. From the flash of lights, I could almost see well enough to get to the door. When I was about halfway there, I got this really creepy feeling. The feeling that I wasn't alone in the room. And right after that, I picked up the thought. It said, there he is. Now I have him. The time to kill is now.